Elena was on top of the world. She had just landed a huge project, a massive ad campaign for a new energy drink. The client loved her pitch, her portfolio was sparkling, and her career was about to take off. There was just one tiny nagging problem. A big part of her winning design, the core concept, wasn't entirely hers. A few weeks ago, while scrolling through an obscure online art forum, she'd seen a similar idea from an amateur artist. It was rough, unfinished, but the spark was there. Elena told herself she'd just improved it, that her version was a completely different beast, but deep down she knew she'd taken the soul of someone else's work. That evening, as she was celebrating with a friend, she noticed something odd. When she raised her glass for a toast, her shadow on the wall didn't. It just stood there, its arm by its side. Elena blinked, thinking it was a trick of the light. But throughout the night the weirdness continued. When she laughed, her shadow remained still, its head bowed. When she waved goodbye to a friend, her shadow's hand stayed firmly in its pocket. A cold knot of dread began to form in her stomach. This was impossible, right? Shadows are supposed to mimic us, not defy us. The next day it got worse. At work, while Elena was trying to refine the design, her shadow took on a life of its own. It would slump in the chair when she sat up straight. It would point a finger accusingly at the screen when she tried to work on the stolen concept. It was like living with a silent, judgmental twin who knew her deepest secret. Her colleagues started giving her strange looks. "Elena, are you okay? You keep flinching at nothing." She tried to ignore it, to force it back into submission, but her shadow was relentless. It was a constant, dark reminder of her dishonesty. The stress was becoming unbearable. She couldn't sleep, she couldn't eat, and her work was suffering. The beautiful design she had stolen now felt ugly and tainted. One afternoon, her boss called her in. "Elena, the client wants a few more variations, but your recent work, it feels uninspired. Is everything all right?" That was the breaking point. Looking at her own reflection in the polished office window, she saw her shadow behind her, shaking its head slowly. It wasn't just a shadow anymore. It was her conscience, made visible. Elena took a deep breath. She couldn't live like this anymore. She walked back to her desk, her heart pounding. She opened her email and found the contact information for the original artist from the forum. With trembling fingers, she wrote a message. She confessed everything: how she'd seen his idea, how she'd borrowed it without permission, and how deeply sorry she was. She then emailed her boss and the client, explaining the situation and pulling herself from the project. She knew it could mean the end of her career, but the weight lifting from her shoulders was immediate and immense. As she hit send on the last email, she glanced at the wall. Her shadow, which had been frozen in a posture of disapproval, slowly straightened up. As she stood, it stood. As she raised a hand to wipe a tear from her eye, it mirrored her perfectly. It was just a shadow again. In that moment, Elena understood. Our actions might take time, but our conscience, that inner shadow, moves instantly. It knows the truth long before we're ready to admit it. Losing the project was tough, but what she gained was far more valuable: her integrity. The young artist she confessed to was surprisingly understanding, and they even ended up collaborating on a new project together, a truly original one this time. Elena learned that true success isn't about the shortcuts you take, but about being able to live peacefully with the person and the shadow that follows you everywhere. So the next time you feel that little nudge, that hesitation before you act, maybe pay attention. It might just be your shadow trying to tell you something. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, give it a like and consider subscribing for more content that makes you think. See you next time.